Hi, I'm Rachel, and this is my AM reading video for Friday, February 19th, 2021. Hopefully going up on Friday, we shall see. Figuring I can keep things short and sweet. So anyway, the book I finished this week is Scissors, Paper, Stone by Martha K. Davis, which I chose for my page 112 tag last week. It is a book about three narrators through the 60s through the 80s. A mother character, Catherine, her daughter, Min, an adopted daughter. Catherine is a white American and Min came from Korea. And then Min's closest friend, Laura. So it takes them through their lives in a way of well, it focuses mostly, I guess, on the 20s, because we start with Catherine when she's adopting Min when she is in her 20s, and then we follow Min and Laura, like, starting when they're, like, 9 and going until 21, and then by that point we also check back in with Catherine in middle age, and it touches upon such issues as interracial relations in this time period where it was particularly not seen as kosher, as it were, for white people in America to be adopting from Asia, and they were not necessarily seen by white society as then members of the family, and Min, of course, had to deal with racism growing up. And beyond that, she also had to deal with homophobia as she came out as a lesbian. And we're also following Laura and her own, sexual awakening and so forth, particularly a little bit, I guess, in the wake of her parents. I liked what Martha did with kind of subtly showing how her parents and their life choices impacted her relationships, both sexually and also just with, Catherine and Min. And I was gushing a lot about this book last week, and I still like it a lot, but I feel like the ending wasn't believable in terms of what she did with the characters. I don't want to say much because it would be spoilery, I guess, but definitely took my head out of the clouds a little bit, where I felt like I was surprised in a way because this is such a character-driven novel, but I felt like she wasn't doing her characters the justice they deserved and really staying true to who they were, or at least certainly how I saw them, and that ending just was a little too pat for me. So this was a 4-star. Of course, most things I read I give 4 stars, so I don't know what I mean. But in this case, I enjoyed the book a lot. I liked a lot of the character beats and cultural beats, but not everything gelled, but yeah. Next, I picked up a book for my mom and auntie's book club. This is Murder on the Orient Express by Agatha Christie. A few weeks ago, when we were having our last meeting, we kind of ended with the idea of we wanted to do something that was fun and escapist and like an easy read, and somebody brought up the mystery genre, but I don't know how many of us are all that well-versed in the mystery genre. Anyway, we couldn't really decide on anything in the moment, but almost immediately after the meeting, I did research, and then I realized, well, duh, probably the most famous mystery author of all time is Agatha Christie. And I got to thinking, well, you know what? I've never read Agatha Christie, and that's something that I feel like is something I'd want to rectify. Within my own reading journey, I should read at least one Agatha Christie book, as this back copy reminds us. She's sold more books than anyone, excepting God and Shakespeare. So, well, they say the Bible. So anyway. Anyway, and from then, nobody else contested that, so I guess we were going ahead with Murder on the Orient Express, and I'll be curious what people think of this. So this is one of her Hercule Poirot mysteries, hoping I'm saying that correctly. Went on to YouTube, to try to figure it out. Anyway, I haven't even seen, the recent movie for this, unlike my mother, although from what I understand, they changed the characters significantly enough that I think she'd be a little surprised by who appears in the 1934 original. The premise is you got a bunch of Europeans and Americans traveling on a train from Baghdad to London, I believe. One of them is murdered. Poirot is a detective on the train who is then pressed into trying to solve the crime. It seems very likely that the murderer is still on the train because they're stuck in a snowbank. And you know, people just can't get off, and there's no like communications or anything like that. They're just kind of stuck in Yugoslavia, I believe it is, while we go through the motions of Poirot interviewing people and trying to piece together clues. And there's a couple things that come to mind to me for this sort of thing. The first being, I don't have the best sort of mystery mind, I think. I mean, I realize that this is relatively simple, really. I think if you just, you know, give it the proper attention, I could probably try solving this crime along with Poirot, I guess. But I have a lot of difficulty hanging on to all of these specific details because I'm a snob. I'm a literary fiction snob. And speculative, that's my, you know, my big genre love. But with this, you know, the characters are not meant to be three-dimensional, and in fact, I think there's a lot of gotcha in this, I think. I mean, we're being shown stereotypes so that somebody's hiding something behind a big stereotype that they're doing. But anyway, all of these clues and all of these affectations are also plot-driven, and I can't keep up with them because I just have trouble caring about, like, piecing together things having to do with plot. I'm used to ingesting character and getting involved in the emotional lives of characters, and of course that's not what this is about. This is about the plot. We're going along and figuring things out with Poirot and piecing together something much more, you know, rational, or, you know, what have you. And the second thing, of course, is the time period, 1934, with just so much blasé racism everywhere. It's, you know, as an Italian American, I feel very affronted. I'm thinking of my own, you know, immigrant grandparents who, you know, they were recent immigrants in 1934, in fact, you know, relatively recent immigrants to America, and to think this is how a lot of Europeans and Americans saw them at the time, as this sort of swarthy, violent race of people. I can think of reasons why Italians were seen as so swarthy back in the day, is because you didn't think as much about people of even darker skin complexions. And of course now, you know, there's been so much intermarriage. But anyway, it's just something that, you know, sticks out to me. And of course, you know, it's par for the course with how people, you know, judge each other in this time period. But in terms of detective work, it seems shockingly inefficient. Basically, to think, well, this is the sort of crime an Italian would do because it's passionate with a knife and the Italians use knives. And that just isn't, that's just preposterous to think that in the real world everybody, you know, follows a script based on their ethnicity or whatever. It's just, in terms of, you know, actually solving a crime, this is ridiculous. At least I hope it is. I mean, in this story, I mean, come on now. So I don't know, I mean, I guess I'm enjoying it. I'm reading it relatively quickly and can keep up with it enough, you know, to keep on with what's going on. But, you know, I can't really form, you know, opinions or try to, like, do the foreshadowing stuff, because I'm sure I could if I put if I put more effort into it. I guess I could try to solve the crime as well, but I just find it so difficult, you know, to get into that mindset because there's no real characters here. So, oh God, I am bashing Agatha Christie. Is that what I'm doing? Oh my gosh. We all have our own personal, you know, wheelhouses. And I guess my snobbery is still in place with the genres I like versus not so much maybe. Although, you know, in terms of reading it and kind of holding on, you know, it's keeping my interest, and I'll be curious to see what the book clubs thinks of it. I think they kind of wanted something a little more contemporary. But hey, I was just like, oh, it's Agatha Christie. I mean, if we're going to read a mystery, maybe we should go to the Queen. Anyway. And anyway, after all of that, next on the docket, I have Uncanny Valley, a memoir by Anna Wiener, which I believe is about her experience working in Silicon Valley in recent years, which I am reading for the BookTube Prize. I am judging Nonfiction Group F, and I will not be talking about this book any further because of the judging situation. I'm sure I'll have my full thoughts about everything I've read in late March or early April once the Octafinals have concluded, but for now I will just leave links to more BookTube Prize information down below. So that about covers it for me now. Not entirely sure of my weekend plans. My mother's birthday was back on the 10th, but due to weather stuff over the weekend, I didn't go to see her in Baltimore. I'm in the DC area. And now our plans are kind of up in the air as well. My nephew, he's 2, he seems to have a little bit of a fever, so hopefully that'll go down, and maybe usually I would know in a little more advance that if I was going to Baltimore or not, but at the moment it's up in the air, so it'll really be a day of situation, I guess. I might be heading there and be spending the weekend with my family, which would be nice. Although it would certainly also be nice to stay here and read, hopefully. And speaking of reading, I hope to be back on this channel next week, and I think I'm going to do a BookTube spin TBR, which is quite ridiculous because the BookTube spin is like in the middle of a round right now. Rick McDonnell actually did a spinny thing back in late January, and now everybody's reading their book for the next 2 months, so it'll be at least a couple months before he does another spinny thing, but I'm just so excited by the idea of this BookTube TBR game that people in my own subscription list are playing, that I thought I'd like to take part, and I'll just make an early list for the next round right now, because why not? So yeah, I guess that about covers it. Stay safe out there from weather, from COVID, what have you. Thanks so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.